Our political insiders right now here this week, Beth Schneider, Pete's seat with the Indiana GOP, and for the Democrats, Adam Kirsch. A whole lot of hullabaloo in the few weeks leading up to Friday. In the end, there weren't the votes to get it across that finish line. Beth, are you surprised?
Actually, yeah, a bit, because normally majorities can get their members together, and the argument here was simply just keep the bill alive, and I have seen that work over and over and over again. But when you're seeing only 17% approval in polls, Congressman's office being flooded with calls against this, the Koch brothers against it, the Health Association, the Medical Association, Heritage Foundation, I believe, all coming out against it, the momentum became to vote no.
Adam, surprised?
Slightly. The Republicans have campaigned since literally day one that the Affordable Care Act came in place, that they wanted to take away the Affordable Care Act, eliminate coverage for pre-existing conditions, and kick people off Medicaid. They had that opportunity this week, and they failed. It's unquestionably a good news for the country. Here in Indiana, we'll have 400,000 people who will get to stay on HIP 2.0 because the funding won't be eliminated. Policy-wise, it's a good deal for Hoosiers. Politically, who knows? I think it hurts Donald Trump because he loses his art of the deal master negotiator shield that he's campaigned on.
Pete, there was a bit of a giggle there as Adam was speaking.
Yeah, I don't know how he says half the things he says with a straight face sometimes, but we wouldn't be at this point where we're looking to repeal and replace Obamacare if the bill were good to begin with. And Joe Donnelly, your United States Senator, Democrat, helped put that in place, and had he not done that, we wouldn't have been in this position. You know, you've got this small group, the House Freedom Caucus, who not that long ago couldn't even get their calls returned by the Speaker of the House, John Boehner, and now they're getting one-on-one meetings with the President of the United States. They're going to try and exact some influence out of that.
So power's gone to their head?
Well,
I bet.
I don't know that I would say that, but they've got some clout, and they wanted to see certain things come out of this bill, and they didn't get what they wanted. They couldn't get to yes.
I spoke with Senator Donnelly this week. He continues to push for a bipartisan fix for Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act. Pete, in the midst of that, what do Republicans do?
Well, again, you wouldn't need a bipartisan fix if he hadn't voted for this to begin with. You know, Joe Donnelly goes to D.C., he votes for the Affordable Care Act, for Obamacare, and then he comes to Indiana and says, oh, well, we need to fix it. It's not perfect. We'll get things done. But he's there lockstep every time with them in Washington, D.C. So you've got one thing going on over there, the way he votes, and you've got another thing going on here, the way he talks. And he's just got to get his story straight.
I got to disagree a little bit here. The one reason they're having trouble passing it is that there are so many things about Obamacare that people actually like. Continuing coverage, young people on their parents' health insurance, no lifetime cap, expanded Medicaid, all those things people don't want to give up, but they don't want to pay the cost of getting those things. So you've got a real tug-of-war then between the real conservatives who don't think this is a real repeal and the moderates who are afraid that it's taking away too much. They were even at the last minute pulling out essential health benefits, which are things like trips to the emergency room, mental health, drug addiction, which right now is a huge issue across Indiana and other states. And so I think, you know, it clearly wasn't a perfect bill, but I think if we were talking about let's fix what people think is wrong, as opposed to repeal, replace with a mishmash, I think they'd be having better luck.
Adam, where does this issue go from here?
It'll be interesting to see. President Trump said he wants to just move on and leave the Affordable Care Act in place. That'll be a fairly big, another broken promise from the president. He said, we're going to win on health care so much, we're going to win, we're going to be sick of winning. He's got a very different definition of winning than I do.
Beth, Governor Holcomb getting behind this bill late this week, pushing other governors to get behind it as well. Was that the right political strategy?
Actually, I don't think so. Holcomb's having a very good run. This is a very tough decision for Holcomb when you have Mike Pence there pushing hard for it. But the HIP 2.0 depends on that money continuing. That's been very popular. That's actually one of the ways other states might want to go. And unless they come back with some way to fund that, that's gone. I think that's tough.
I don't know that it was a huge loss as everyone is putting it up to be. I think it was really refreshing to see the president, the vice president, the speaker, all these people working together to get something done. They just didn't get enough people there.
Master at the clock, Adam, Pete, Beth, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being here. Also this week,